My husband's 28 meters car got destroyed and now he's taking his frustrations out on me. 24F. We've been dating for 4 years, married for 11 months. Basically, a truck driver hit my husband's car and entirely destroyed it. It was a hit and run, so no one knows who the driver of the truck was, which is ironic because almost all of our neighbors saw it happening but nobody bothered to write down the license plate number. The accident happened at around 7 a.m. Our whole neighborhood started talking about it and 3 hours later one of them finally decided to let us know what happened. Needless to say, it was a shitty way to start the day. My husband loves his cars, especially this one. We're currently trying to figure things out with our insurance, but it's not looking good. My husband is super frustrated and angry, understandably so. Unfortunately, he's taking all of this frustration and anger out on me. He's yelling at me non-stop and forcefully pushes me out of the way when I'm standing in his way. I tried to comfort him and gently touched his arm but he slapped my hand away. I've never seen him like that and honestly, it's scaring me. I'm one of those people that immediately get emotional when someone raises their voice at them. Is there anything that I can do? How can I calm him down? Too long didn't read. My husband's car got destroyed in a hit and run and now he's taking his frustrations out on me. Pack a bag and leave. He physically abused you, on your own home. And the yelling is also not acceptable. 11 months, not even a year in and he thinks he can pull this. To hell with that. He's yelling at me non-stop and forcefully pushes me out of the way when I'm standing in his way. I tried to comfort him and gently touched his arm but he slapped my hand away. It's time to pack a bag and go visit someone for a bit. If he is angry, you are not his emotional or physical punching bag. This is not normal, and you should not have to deal, endure or cope with it. It's a car, it can be replaced. He is placing the value of his car over you. That is not okay. Big red flag. Leave and let him work out this tantrum on his own. Come back only when he agrees to treat you with respect. He hit you. He pushed you. That is physical abuse. It is not okay. You do not have to stay and be his emotional punching bag until he feels like stopping. In a few days when he has calmed down, tell him in no uncertain terms that you will not tolerate that kind of treatment and if it happens again, even once, you're gone. Personally, I wouldn't agree to return until he agrees to go to therapy. My husband is a man who loves his cars. They are his hobby, his passion and his first love. And I'm telling you right now that if he pushed me after one of them got wrecked, he would be wrecked. This is not okay. Being upset, irritated more than usual, mourning sure. Taking it out on you, pushing you? No. He needs counseling. He is unable to deal in health with big emotion. What if something more serious or upsetting comes up, and it will? That's life. He needs to learn to handle disappointment and anger without using you as a punching bag. You are less than 1 year into this marriage and he is already being abusive when life doesn't go his way. There are 1,000 other things that can go wrong in a marriage. Is this an indicator of how he will handle them? The hard thing to realize is that if you do nothing, it won't get better. You will end up remembering this as the first time he was abusive. You really can't sweep this under the rug. All the red flags are flying. Find someplace safe to stay and don't go back until he apologizes. And not an "I'm sorry," but apology. He doesn't get to blame the situation or you for his behavior. You obviously know this isn't okay because you are here posting. You are right. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. While you are taking a break, read up on the early warning signs of abuse and do some serious thinking about whether there are other things that you have missed or excused. Take your time and don't go back until you feel safe. Roommate proposed a threesome. I said no and things are a bit awkward and weird. What can I do? So I, 26M, have been best friends with him, 26M, since college for about 5 years. Actually he was my first roommate, shared room, and now after college we live in the same 3-bedroom apartment with someone else. Now I have a girlfriend, he obviously has one too. The 4 of us have hanged out recently and it's been cool. Now the other day we were just talking and he brought up the fact that I wasn't a virgin anymore. That's a whole different story, and asked ask what sorts of stuff I did. Without thinking about it in a weird way, I mentioned a few. It was then that he asked me if I was willing to join him and his GF for a threesome. I told him I wasn't interested and just walked away. Ever since then it's been awkward between the two of us. I don't know if it's something in my head or if his behavior is actually different. I will admit that I at first tried to avoid him, but not anymore. What should I do to stop making it all awkward? I'm Adam. I don't want it to get to the point where I have to move out and lose an awesome friendship. Too long didn't read. I live with my best friend of 5 years. Asked me to join him and his GF for sex. I said no. Now it's all awkward between both of us. How to move on? To echo another comment, you gotta call out the elephant in the room. It's been awkward since that question, so circle back to it. Fully clear the air. Hey, friend, I've been feeling a bit of awkward tension lately and I just wanted to clear the air. I can't lie that the threesome question really caught me off guard and I didn't really know how to react, even afterwards, and that's on me. I didn't mean anything by rejecting your offer. I really appreciate that you feel comfortable enough to want to try something like that with me actually. I just don't think that's something I'm into. A friend's response and just take it from there. I would also suggest apologizing for ignoring him, cause that probably played a role in the awkwardness too. Hope this helped. Weird. So he thought you having a GF was a non-issue. If you're in a monogamous relationship, that's a hard no right there. I would just ask, say hey, I hope things aren't weird after the other day. That's just not my thing and I'm focused on dating name. I'm so confused why people are saying you should apologize, that you've made things awkward, etc., when he asked you to cheat on your girlfriend. Did you state that you're non-monogamous with her? Why is the onus on Op to fix things when the roommate is the one that abruptly propositioned him despite Op giving no indication that he was sexually interested in either the roommate or the roommate's GF? I've found the best way to talk about an elephant in the room is to just call it by name and say, hey, can we talk about this? After you break the ice on the conversation, it will get easier. And say what you wrote at the end of the post. He might be feeling rejected. Regardless, this could be an easy thing to get past if you just acknowledge it and say you want to move on. My 32M dad resents me for working on our house. A little background: my parents were a power couple. My dad had a business in automatization and my mom is a very successful IT consultant. They both had high-end careers, they were very active in their hobbies, both were in a really good shape. The recession in 2008 hit my dad really hard. He lost his biggest client and eventually had to close his company. He is very proud and did not want to be dependent of his wife, so he got a job driving an excavator, at this point 55 years/oh man. After few months, he got himself seriously injured and went to early retirement. Since then he does very little aside of sitting in his chair, watching World War II documentaries and drinking. This is where I come up. I was working in our capital, but because of recent events, I was allowed to work from home. As I did not have to be physically present at a workplace to do my job, I moved back with my parents. The house they live in is very large and it is not in the best shape. I wanted to be productive while I am here, so I decided to get some work done. I cleaned up the garage. Imagine 20+ hours of work, cleaning out dead rats and rusty scrap. Then I renovated my office, put up new wallpaper, carpet, paint the ceiling. Now I am doing the same to the hall and I have plans for the rest of the house. My dad is not happy about this. It feels like I am showing him up by doing all these things. My mom is not helping, since she often says how nice it is to have a man in the house, which annoys my dad even more. The first issue was the garage. He was telling me that if I mess with it, he will not be able to find anything. But now it is objectively better now and I have thrown out multiple dead rats out of there. Second thing, I am planning to renovate the rest of the house. My dad communicates exclusively in grunts and moans, so it is often difficult to tell what he really means. My mom is always happy to help. She seemed to enjoy working with me, washing brushes, taping corners and so on. Dad hates that we do this without him, but does not seem to want to participate. TL/Doctor, I am doing some minor renovations on my parents' house. I do it out of my pocket. I do not want anything for it. My dad still hates me because of that. I've been in your shoes. What I can say is the biggest red flag that's in your control was, I have plans for the rest of the house. Whose plans are these? Your dad's? No. Your mom's? Yours? You can't just decide your parents are going to live in a house you decorate. Your dad is depressed. He's going to see all this as a slight against him. Your mom seems to love it, but she's being cruel to your dad. You need to address this toxic three-way dynamic and renovate it before you put up any more wallpaper. I know these are your parents and you want to see them living well, but for the sake of your relationship, you might want to put that energy toward Habitat for Humanity or something until all three of you are on the same page. All three of you guys screwed up. Your mom is getting your dad pissed off by saying stupid things like "I'm glad there's a man in the house," which degrades your dad. Your dad is not doing anything in the house. Is he not getting physical therapy for the injury? What's stopping him from improving himself? I can understand the cleaning part, but why are you renovating someone else's home? Pay your rent and leave your parents' house alone. It's not your house. I can see both sides of this, but ultimately, this is the most important point. Listen, I know you mean well, but it's not your house. It comes off as super controlling. Buy your own house.